If you lived in a world where nothing is impossible and you could achieve something outrageous that right now seems impossible, what would you go for? What would you have? Anything at all. Because that's what we're going to take a look at today. Conquering the impossible. Hey there, this is Kris, and right now I'm in Bucharest preparing for our 9-day retreat. And I've got this amazing feeling about what's coming ahead, this incredible surge of energy that says it's going to be absolutely amazing. So I'm super pumped, I'm super excited, and this is what's inspiring me to take a look at this topic now about what's impossible and how to turn that around and make it immediately possible. Now, what is impossible? What defines impossible? Well, let me give you an example. To say that I want to fly around like Superman, just go soaring around wherever I want, that would be impossible. Why? Well, there are laws, the laws of physics, there are rules, there are programs in the world that say you can't do that. The world just doesn't work that way. And as much as you'd like to fly around like Superman, fat chance, you're never going to do it. Now, that's a pretty extreme example, flying around. But this also applies to something I think that we can relate to here about our goals. See, we all set goals. A lot of us set big money goals. Like, I allow myself to have $100,000 or more just by releasing. Just by letting go, or $1 million, whatever. And we may be working on our goals, we may be slacking off on our goals, but the point is, oftentimes we fail to meet some of these goals. And what's stopping us? What is preventing us from achieving these big goals of ours? Well, we've got these beliefs, these rules inside of us, deep down, that say, you can't do that. The world doesn't work that way. As much as you like to be a millionaire, you're never going to do it. And those rules can come up with all sorts of reasons. You're not good enough, you don't have the right education, you don't have the right skills, you don't have the right opportunities, and so on. But all these limitations, they really exist in our mind, right? If you think about something that is impossible for you, something like a goal that you like to achieve, that you can't achieve, when you look at your information about can I do it or not, you have to look into your mind to get that information. And even if you look at like the extreme examples, like flying, you still look into your mind and you recall all the information that you read when you're in school about Isaac Newton and the laws of gravity and all of that. You're still looking into your mind for that information. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the whole world is your picture. And I think a lot of us, we realize that. We've talked about this and we've worked on stuff like this. But here's the thing, a lot of us go around claiming that it's our picture. And we tell ourselves that, we tell each other that. We say, hey, you got a limiting belief, it's just your picture, it's just your story, why don't you let it go? But here's the thing, it's one thing to say it's just a picture. It's another thing to change that picture, have a different one. Those are two very different things. And unfortunately, a lot of us, we get stuck on just talking about it. And we walk around acting so smart, telling ourselves that, telling others that, it's just a picture, when we can't even demonstrate a lot of changes and a lot of changing pictures. So let's take the next step. Let's move to shifting our picture and breaking the impossible in our world. All right? And by the way, before we get into this, we're going to do some work on this, but what I'd like you to do is put in the comments below something that is impossible for you right now in your life that you like to turn around and make possible. I'd like to hear from you what impossibles you would like to break. And the reason for this is purely inspirational. By writing down an impossible that you like to break, it's a big step in inspiring yourself. It's also inspiring for me and everybody else who's watching this video here and reading the comments. So share the impossibles you would like to change in your life. All right, now let's go ahead and jump into this. So if it is a picture, what's the answer? What do we have to really do to make that shift? What's the key here? The key is our attitude. Now let's look at it this way. For all we know, this is the only life we have. I mean, we may believe that we are an eternal being. We may believe that we've been around for many lives and we could possibly be around for many more, but we don't actually know. If we did know, we would be realized. So we don't fully know for sure. So for all we know, really, this is our only life here. Now, what are we going to do with this life? Well, we have two options. One, we can go about this life playing by the rules, going about our daily living, on and on and on, until we die. We just follow the rules, we obey all the laws, until we're no more. And that's the way most of the people on this planet, they go about their life, playing by the rules. Or we can go with option two. We can spend our time here in this life in pursuit of the truth, actively in pursuit of the truth, with a sense of courageousness, with a determination. I'm going to find the truth. Or, even better than that, I'm going to find imperturbability. Because even if all these laws and rules turn out to be absolutely true, what I'm going to do with this life is let go of all my negative feelings about that, so I can be happy anyway, so I can be totally imperturbable. And that's what I'm going to spend my entire life, every day, doing, letting go, and being in the pursuit of the truth. Now that is inspirational. That is courageousness. And that is a can-do attitude. And that's just a decision to lift yourself up. So what are you going to do with your life? Are you just going to get frustrated with it and resist all of these limitations and rules and deep inner programs that say, I can't do that, and get down on yourself and just go about your life and just give up? Or are you going to spend every moment letting go, moving up, getting imperturbable, and quieting your mind, being in that incredible, delicious space of beingness? See, that's a decision. All right? Now let's take some steps to move into the space right now, to prove we can do it. To first prove that we can be imperturbable and we can be happy anyway. And maybe along the way, we'll prove that these laws, these rules, and these programs, deep programs inside of us, that they really are a picture and we can change that picture. All right? So just think about a limitation that you have in your life right now. Think about something that's currently impossible for you that you would genuinely like to have. So I'm not necessarily talking about flying here, not going so extreme. I'm talking about a real goal of yours. Maybe it's a money goal. that right now seems impossible. Just think about something. All right? And when you think about it, and you think about your ability to achieve this, to have this, just take a look at your reality about that situation. And notice what you're doing. You're having to look in your mind. You're accessing your computer. That's all this mind is, just a big computer. And this computer is filled with programs. And right now, these programs are telling you what you can and cannot do. So it may say stuff like, well, it's possible to be a millionaire, but not right now. Maybe sometime in the future, but I don't have that ability now. Or it sounds nice, but I just can't. I'm not good enough. I don't have the right skills. Or I just don't have the right conditions in place right now. I don't have the right opportunities. So just notice what your picture is, what your mind is telling you about this impossible situation. Now notice who you are who's looking at this information. So your mind is feeding you this information, feeding you the programs that it has collected about how the world works and what you can or cannot do. And you're the one who's looking at this information that your mind is telling you. Now it's from this part of you where you can make a decision. And here's a really excellent decision that you can start making right now. It's just a question. Just ask yourself, could I let go of being so smart and allow it to be other than what I think it is? Now, it's just a question that prompts you to make a decision now. So just decide, yes or no. Could you let go of being so smart? Could you let go of that information that you have in your mind? And could you just simply allow it to be other than what you think it is? Doesn't mean that it's going to change. Doesn't mean anything at all. Just could you allow it to be different? Yes or no? And would you be willing to let that information go? That information in your mind. And again, could you let go of being so smart and allow it to be other than what you think it is? And even more. And even more. It's just a decision. Just decide, yeah, I can allow it. I can allow that to be different. I can genuinely allow it. Might be, a little bit tough at first because there might be some resistance, or your mind might be getting activated and going, what the hell are you talking about? But just center in on that decision. Could you let go of being so smart? And could you allow it to be other than what you think it is? And a little bit more. 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 And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And just notice how you feel, just being open to that. Notice how things just kind of are settling down, getting quieter, feeling more at ease, more relaxed. See, this is nicer than being agitated about it or feeling stuck about it. So we're moving in the right direction. Now, take a look to see if you've been trying to figure out how to make that possible, how to get that goal. Now, here's the thing. When you're trying to figure it out, you're asking your programs. You're looking into your mind. That's exactly what you're doing when you're trying to figure it out, which is a waste of time. Because all your mind is just a bunch of programs. Right or wrong, it's just a bunch of information. And all that information is just information that was recorded from the past, which means that it has limitations. And it's not appropriate or even relevant to the question that you're asking right now. And there's a much better place to get that answer from. We'll get to that in a moment here. But right now, could you just let go of wanting to figure it out? Because you're literally looking in an empty file cabinet for an answer that isn't there. I mean, that's obvious. If you had that possibility to do it in your mind, you'd have that goal. So could you let go of asking your mind for the answer? And could you let go of wanting to know? That right there is the key. That's just going to get you to stop looking at your mind. Could you just let go of wanting to know the answer? And could you let go of wanting to know what to do about it? And more. And even more. And see if you've been beating yourself up, disapproving of yourself because you can't do what you really want to do. And see if you've been beating yourself up, if you've been working on this goal, maybe you've been working on it for a long time and you still haven't gotten it yet. And it might not be so obvious, but maybe you've been slacking off. You haven't really been working on that goal. Maybe you've been lazy about it. Maybe you've even been apathetic about it, just kind of forgetting about it. Well, maybe that's kind of coming from beating yourself up. Well, I'm just not even going to look at it. I'm just going to forget about it, focus on other things, get distracted, and forget my goal. That's not smart. So just see if that's you disapproving of yourself. Have you been disapproving of yourself? And how does that help you? Disapproving of yourself. Doesn't help you at all. And who's doing it? You're doing it, right? And if you're doing it, and it's not getting you the results that you want, and it doesn't feel good to beat yourself up, right? Then the smart thing to do is make a decision now. I'm going to be positive and love myself, or I'm going to be negative and beat myself up. What do you decide? See, that's a smart decision, to be positive no matter what. That's incredibly smart. So could you let go of disapproving of yourself? Yes or no? So you're doing it. You're the only one who can make the decision now. Yes or no? Could you let go of disapproving of yourself? Just a little bit. And could you let go of disapproving of yourself a little bit more? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And even more. And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And even more. And even more. And even more. And could you let go disapproving of yourself even more? And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. Notice how you feel. See if that feels lighter. See if you feel more positive, happier now. See, not so bad. And even if you don't achieve your goal, if you dedicated your life to letting go so you can be imperturbable and be positive anyway, isn't that a life well lived? So this is the main point here. What do you decide to do with your life? How about deciding to practice love every moment? Every moment. And let's do it right now. Could you give yourself some love and approval? Just because. Just because you can. And could you give yourself some more love and approval? And more. And even more. And could you give yourself even more love and approval? And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And could you give yourself even more love and approval? And more. And even more. And even more. Notice how you feel now. See if you feel even more positive. See if you feel even more positive. And see if you feel more like, I can. See if it's more possible to achieve this goal of yours. Notice the difference when you're looking at what's possible for you now. It's more possible, right? Just a feeling, even if it's just a sense. Maybe don't have any real information or nothing seems to change, just a feeling. Notice that difference in that feeling. Now here's what's happening, is you're talking to something different than your programs, than your mind. You're talking to beingness now. And beingness is giving you that answer. Yes, you can. So if you want to break the impossible, this is how you do it. By developing a strong relationship with beingness. And there's only one way to do it. Only one way I know how to do it. It's just with this determination. This is how I'm spending my life. I'm spending every moment of it letting go of my negativity, getting positive. I am spending my life in exploration of truth. I'm determined to find the truth, and nothing's stopping me. See, it's this attitude of courageousness that's the key to move you forward. And this is just a decision. Now, I personally guarantee if you make this decision, you're going to discover some extraordinary things inside of yourself that are truly unlimited, and you're going to start breaking down these programs, these deep beliefs. I promise you. Because that part of you that's just looking at this stuff, that part of you that just is, that's present here, the fact that you are, that's powerful. That's totally unlimited. But it's up to you to really get there, bring this out. And that's why I do everything I can do to help you, help myself. Because we're all in this together to discover what the truth is and to get loving, get positive, and get imperturbable. And that's why I'm excited about a brand new course that's coming up that's all about unraveling these deep-seated programs, these laws that are deep inside of us that say, you can't do that, that's impossible, the world doesn't work that way. These programs run deep. And so I've got this class called the Be Your Own Boss course. It's about looking at these deep programs and belief systems and these automatic behaviors and tendencies that keep us just living in a rut in our lives, obeying the rules, living with these limitations until we die. These programs of inevitability that we got to take out. And I prepared a very intensive and special 6-week course that's all about taking these out. And I put a link to it down below, so check it out. And before we conclude here, I want to give you a homework assignment to practice this attitude of, I'm using this life in pursuit of the truth. That's what my life is about. I'm through with limitations. I'm going to use every moment to get positive. And just practicing these simple skills that we practice here every week. And as you practice this, if you get some realizations, if you get some breakthroughs, let me know in the comments below too. So try this out as a homework assignment and let me know what happens. All right? So I'll see you soon. Some of you, I'll see you at the upcoming retreat here. And let's all move up. Let's get totally imperturbable and totally loving. We all deserve this.